Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between the Skaven, who shall be led by Lord Skrolk, the filthiest of all rats. Although, is he really, though? I mean, isn't there someone that's above him in terms of the clan pestilence priority? Like Nurglich or something like that? Anyways, you guys can let me know in the comment section below. And we're going to be facing off against the Dark Elves, who shall be led by a Supreme Sorceress with the Lore of Death. So pretty much a very standard competitive pick. And it looks like the Sorceress is indeed going to be atop of a Mighty Manticore, which is quite good against Skaven. Causes terror, gives her a little bit more punch against those Skaven Lords. Certainly like that pick. Wait, is there a double caster here? Supreme Sorcerers with Dark Magic. Oh, and then there's actually going to be a Death Caster on the ground with Spirit Leech. So yeah, very, very solid stuff. So as far as my army goes, it's pretty much going to be, I would say, yeah, it's a Skaven Death Star. So it's going to be a front line of Skaven Slaves with 2 Limp Biscuit Lawnmowers. So we do also have Doomflayers. Now, my kind of school of thought against playing against Dark Elves, I used to love using Skaven Gunlines. It would often work against players that maybe were a little bit more skilled then. But I found that when you were playing against tournament players and players who were very experienced in the matchup, they would just kind of swarm you with Dark Riders and Harpies. And it was extremely hard to defend your gunline. You were always on the back foot. And I was like, hey, you know what? Let's just go with the Death Star. I think it's going to be a little bit more fluid in this matchup because oftentimes, yes, they are going to be respecting your gunline. They're going to go wide with Dark Riders and Harpies. Both units are actually going to be quite terrible against the Death Star. So I think in terms of mind games and the meta game, it's going to be pretty good. So in the front line, we got Skaven Slaves, just chaffaroos there. And as we mentioned before, we do also have the double Doomflayer. And the Doomflayers are pretty good against Dark Elves. Firstly, they're, fairly heavily armored. So a lot of the Dark Elf chaff infantry, like Bleak Swords and Dread Spears, and I think Sisters of Slaughter don't have the best armor-piercing values, and they are somewhat common picks in this matchup. They're going to be pretty durable against those guys, because they do have the 90 armor, plus they also get 24 from the, I forget what it's called the Best Defense when they're engaged in melee combat. On top of that, they have pretty good AP, they have a bonus versus infantry, very solid at clearing out hordes of like cheap infantry, or even elite infantry. If they're against like Argonath Executioners, these rat boys can do some heavy lifting. So we got 2 of those, and for the front line, we're going to be going pretty heavy metal by Skaven standards. So we have 2 groups of these Storm Vermin with these swords and shields, and again, for the same reason, they're quite good against Dark Elves. Dark Elves often go pretty wide with chaff units and low AP units. You're not really going to be seeing Argonath Executioners or Blackguard in this matchup, so the 90 armor on these rats is incredibly solid. 90 armor, 36 melee attack, and 44 melee defense. Really not terrible in this matchup, at least. I mean, Storm Vermin in general aren't, terribly strong for their tier, but again, in this circumstance, are going to be quite good. On top of that, we do also have the Council Guard here in the back. The Council Guard are very good in Death Star styles of play. Firstly, they're actually, I always forget that they're like albino, and it always catches me off guard. But anyways, these guys do have Guardian, and it's very, very common in most matchups, especially in this one with the Supreme Sorceress plus the Deathcaster. Your Lord's often going to be getting sniped, so they're going to be coming in with Manticores and Spirit Leeches, and yes, this won't help you against the magic, but it does help you against the other sniping tools. So having the Guardian for Skrolk is going to be incredibly powerful. It'll, make him last longer. You get more value out of Skrolk. It's just a win-win. On top of that, they're unbreakable, which is very valuable for Skaven Death Stars. Oftentimes they get surrounded and just buckled, and that's what used to happen pre-DLC, but now that you have the Council Guard, you can always know that you're going to have a pretty durable, decent unit just holding down that pocket and really giving you that good Guardian. On top of that, we do have a Helpit Abomination. Is that another flare in the back? Do I have 3 in total? I think it's just going to be 2, actually. I think they just got stuck back there. But we do have a Hellpit Abomination as well. 2 groups of Rat Ogres just for mass. So if they're coming in with like Dark Riders or anything that's going to be kind of surrounding you, it's nice to have some mobility on the Rat Ogres, who do actually have decent speed at 60. So that's it for my army. And for the forces of the Dark Elves, like I said, they do indeed have a Supreme Sorceress with the Lore of Dark, and it looks like it's going to be Soul Stealer and Chillwind. So Soul Stealer is actually going to be really good here. My army's going to be very bunched up, and he's going to be able to very easily get some massive casts with that AoE damage, heal up his character, and yeah, just get some work done. So very, very good stuff there. He does also have 2 groups of the Blackheart Corsairs with handbows. These guys are going to be dropping some of their low AP shots into the Rat Ogres and Hellpit Abomination. So also a very solid pick. Great against Rat Ogres, great against Hellpits. Yeah, and decent in melee as well. If they have to fight like Clan Rats and stuff like that, they're going to be fine. So for the rest of the army, it's going to be a couple Dread Spears, an entire core of the Sisters of Slaughter. So these are one of those units that, yes, they do have low AP, but their stats are pretty damn good. 37, 59, 38. They do also have this nice ability here, which is the Trial of Blades. So yeah, gives armor-piercing damage, melee attack. They have really good physical resist. They actually do pretty well against armored units. I've seen people use them in the Dwarf matchup just because of their sustainability and the poison and their high melee defense. These guys can do some work. So he's got 3 of those. He does also have the Dread Spears. On the flank, it's going to be Dark Riders with shields, 2 Harpies. Like I said, it looks like a build that's it's well balanced for sure, but it's more designed, in my opinion, to deal with like gun lines and catapults and things like that. Dark Riders and Slaanesha's Harvesters up in the high ground, and that is pretty much going to be it. So guys, let's get this show on the road and have some fun. So I will be surging out of the forest here. No point in camping in there, really. We're going to be getting the Storm Vermin into the Sisters, which is still going to be a tough fight. I'm pretty sure that the Sisters would beat the Storm Vermin head-to-head. So we're going to be taking this fight, and the Rats are going to be surging in, but I will be using some magic support. Skrolk, of course, has the Blades of Putrefaction, or Blessed with Filth. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of 40k. And also we have the flares. So the flares are going to be coming in as well, just ramming into these ladies here. Oh my god, the lawnmower. Those guys just getting punted by that. But nonetheless, you can see in the front line, the Rat Boys are doing pretty good. They do have Death Frenzy as well, so I brought a Warlock Engineer. I forgot to mention that. So they're going to be winning that fight while Death Frenzy is active and stand your ground. And you can suddenly see these rats are they're holding their own in a matchup which is normally very hard. Only in Warhammer Fantasy would you see a bunch of Dark Elves whipping a bunch of giant rats. It's quite a glorious situation to behold. Nonetheless, the Sorceress does jump down there to attack the Helped Abomination, or I think it was actually going after Skrulk, but the Helped Abomination was able to surge forward and get a little bit of damage. We do also drop a Libra Bubonicus, and the Harpies are looking for an opportunity to strike. And honestly, maybe attacking the back of the Storm Vermin is going to be the better choice here, but for the meantime, they're going to be lurking in the skies, looking for that juicy target and biding their time. In the meantime, though, my opponent here is able to do a really good job getting rid of my Doom Player. So one Doom Player does get pretty much broken off, and he's going to be chasing it off the battlefield with that Sorceress. So very, very good play right there. In the meantime, the Helped Abomination going to be coming back in, trying to keep it high and tight. Skrulk Daddy is getting punted, so I'm trying my best to keep the Sorceress off Lord Skrulk. But Skrulk is a Foot Lord, so he does get knocked around a bit. And here we actually get a good play. So Helped Abomination attacks. We get a ton of damage on that Supreme Sorceress. Brutal stuff. And then the Warlock Engineer, the hero that Gotham needs, is going to be dropping that Howling Warpgale. So we are able to pin the Sorceress in. So this is going to be huge. If we can finish the Sorceress here, that is going to be a massive play. Granted, you can see my opponent here, Aerocrastic, is going to be surging in with Dark Riders, Slaanesha's Harvesters, a massive just Zerg of Dark Elf mobility here in the back, is actually going to be breaking my Skaven Slave Pocket. Not terribly surprising. And he is going to be able to slip away with the Supreme Sorceress. So beautiful counterplay right there, pushing in there, pinning down my forces, and saving his Lord, which, had he lost that Lord right there, that easily could have been game blouses. Now, in the meantime, the Corsairs on the far side are going to be shooting against my Rat Ogres, who are just helping to clean up the last of these sisters. Over here, I have a couple of reserves, some Skaven Slaves that I probably should have been a little bit better at getting them into the fight, but it's okay. And Rat Ogres, I'm going to be force pathing them back into the Black Ark Corsairs because I figured, hey, might as well, if they're going to go down, we might as go down, attacking a target that we really need to finish off here. So in the main Death Star, it's really just a grind fest. Skrulk is just standing shoulder to shoulder with the Helped Abomination, and I don't have too much support nearby. The Council Guard actually just got here. They're going to be providing that nice Guardian to Lord Skrulk, and on top of that, they're going to bring that Anti-Large to this very, very, large pocket. Slaanesha's Harvesters, Dark Riders, all of these are large entity units, and it's going to be incredibly good here. But look at that, a huge Soul Stealer is going to be going down right there. It hits everything, and again, getting so much value. Hitting the Helped Abomination, hitting Skrulk, it hits the Warlock Engineer. That was just a pain train coming in. Now, if we go up and take a look at the battlefield, I do have some Rat Ogres here in the distance. He was able to chase off the... No, the Doom Players are coming back. That is huge. He didn't chase him all the way off the battlefield, which I understand. It kind of sucks to lose your Spirit Leech, right? Because if he was chasing me off the battlefield, it's pretty long distance. He's going to be missing out on Spirit Leeches. So he does come back in, and I believe he got another Spirit Leech on top of Skrulk Daddy, which got him a little bit more beat up. Helped Abomination is going to be grinding against these Slaanesha's Harvesters. And guys, we have pretty much a dead even fight. Up in the sky, I do get one more Libra Bubonicus, but he responds very well with the Opal Amulet, giving it 22% ward save, which protects you against all damage types. So beautiful play right there. In the meantime, though, balance is pretty even. Corsair Handbows are going to be coming in, and this is tough. These guys are actually pretty good in melee combat as well, so even if his main force falters, he's getting this really good bowfire into my large targets in the forest, and he is going to be able to surge in and fight with these guys. But the Limp Bizkit Flares are back, and the Rat Ogres come back, oh my god, with a steel chair, and now they're potentially going to be collapsing down the formation here, running over some of these sisters as well, but my other Flares are taken out. So the Harvesters and the Dark Rider Deathstorm here and the Sorcerers is going to be able to kind of push them off. But guys, we have this Helped Abomination, and the longer he lives, the longer he fights, the better for me, because of the Terror #1 and #2, he heals himself. So he's going to be able to just be, slapping the base here, and even though he's not great against infantry, it still is a decent presence to have here in the battle. Skrulk Daddy's going to be dropping some summons, some clan rats over here to kind of help out a bit. And the Council Guard are still fighting. They're still going strong. We've got 30 models, and they're able to give Skrulk that Guardian. Now, had he not had this Guardian this entire game, he'd probably be pretty close to death here. So another Spirit Leech effect is going to be coming down from the Dark Elves, dropped on top of Skrulk. And he's getting into that danger zone for sure. 1200 HP, another tick, probably going to put him around 1000. Certainly not the best situation for him, but it looks like the Skaven Death Star is enduring here. Harpy's coming back in. Corsair Handbow Fire still in pretty good shape here with this one group at least. The other one did take a pounding, but these Corsairs probably going to be shooting into the Helped Abomination, which is blessed with filth right now. No, this is so good. The Sorceress actually was fighting, but the other troops around her kind of ran. So at this point, Big Daddy Helped's going to be coming in with the steel chair, and we're going to be trying to crush this caster, which is one of the bigger things the Dark Elves have left. That Spirit Leech finishing off Skrulk, and then, taking out the rest of my very tattered army would probably be one of his best angles for victory at this point. So the Sorceress is going to get broken off, and with that, the bounce power is going to ebb into my favor a little bit. Corsairs are going to be able to kite me, but I do have some summoned clan rats, I think. Are these summoned ones? Yes, they are. And they're going to be attacking the Black Ark Corsairs with handbows. And yeah, guys, my apologies if you hear some background sound. Wookiees, it's really hot here in California right now, and Wookiees just, I mean, I have the AC on and all that, but he's still not enjoying it, so he's just kind of grunting behind me and making some ridiculous sounds. But anyways, battle's still here. Hell Pit Abomination and company holding it down. Supreme Sorceress jumps in for a final Death Strike, trying to finish off Scroll, because there's a chance that she could have gotten some huge burst and then, you know, fallen back, and it would have been huge value for the Dark Elves. But in this case, she does get broken. Scroll did have the protection of the Council Guard here, who did get the Word of Pain, so pretty good little timing there, kind of mitigating their ability to kill her while she charges in. But alas, the Hell Pit Abomination still healing. There's Rat Ogres, there's Flayers, there's a lot of fairly powerful units left here. Granted, it looks like the Deathcaster is back. Dark Elves might be able to come back with a Resurgence here with a really good Spirit Leech. And it depends on his Winds of Magic, really. If he does have that Soul Stealer as well to drop on this blob, that could be quite game-changing as well, but I don't know if he has another cast. In the meantime, we are able to break these Blackheart Corsairs with the Handbows. What is it, Wookie? Are you crawling under the bed? Yeah, he's crawling under the bed. He's like, screw this shit, I'm out of here. I've had enough. And he's tired of watching me cast today. So the Rat Ogre is going to pile in and finish off the Harpies. A nice little Terror Route coming down. And the Supreme Sorceress, getting that close to these powerful units, is going to be breaking as well. Sorceress here is able to finish off the Skaven Slaves with the support of a couple of Dread Spears. But despite the fact that the Spears are good against Rat Ogres and Hell Pits, it's not going to matter, as an onslaught of filthy rats just piles in. Dark Elves just being pounded by the Skaven Ferocity right here. And you can see that these guys are going to be getting taken. Pretty cool shot right there. And I don't know what else they have left. Supreme Sorceress might be able to get, not Supreme, but the regular one might be able to get a Spirit Leech, but no, that is actually going to be all she wrote. So well played. His build was very well designed against, like, I think a Skaven Gunline type player, or maybe a more well-balanced Skaven build, but I think the fact that we did go all in on the Death Star with the Flayers, Rat Ogres, Hell Pit, like elite troops, I think that was a really big saving grace. And I'm wondering, I think that might be the optimal way to play against Dark Elves, but let's see. I mean, if Dark Elves... I mean, obviously, if they know what you're doing, and they come in with, like, Hargoneth Executioners, they'll pound your front line. They could also bring, like, Hydra or Charybdis and, like, stuff like that, and it would make your fight really difficult. And, you know, a Dragon would be really strong here. But, I mean, but again, like, that's the thing. You have to respect the metagame and the fact that Skaven do have crazy firepower. And if you go Charybdis and those other units, and Skaven happen to bring guns, it's a little bit tricky. So perhaps a bounce between the two. But still, this build had some pretty good teeth. I mean, the Corsairs were, very, very good against Rat Ogres. I mean, the Dark Riders and the Slaanesha's Harvesters are always pretty good, but the Dark Riders, I mean, they got a lot of kills, but mostly it was against, like, slave tier units and stuff. Harpies weren't bad either. Yeah, but for the most part, like, there wasn't a ton that was super efficient against the Hell Pit Rat Ogres. The Storm Vermin also, endured, which, they normally, Skaven Infantry normally don't, but, I mean, not the most kills, but they still did pretty good. But yeah, it was a fun little build for sure. And as far as, the build over here for the Dark Elves, I think... yeah, I like this. I think it's really good. The Soul Stealer is really solid. I mean, he was able to get a ton of value from that and just punish my Death Star really bad. His Spirit Leeches were good. He was able to Spirit Leech the Flayer in the beginning. Now, I wonder if he had Spirit Leech Skrulk in the beginning, because I think he used 2 on those. Maybe Arrow can correct me here. But I think had the other one been on Skrulk, maybe he could have finished him off earlier. I don't know. It's hard to say. Getting rid of the Flayers, though, is super important as well. So there's some give and take there. It's pretty tough to make that call. But yeah, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Skaven vs. Dark Elf game. And guys, we will see you all next time. Take care.